Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the 10 before the end because 2026 is rapidly approaching. And here are some of those books. To start, we have The Hours by Michael Cunningham. I was obsessed with Michael Cunningham back in college. His writing is absolutely beautiful. I have another one of his books called Flesh and Blood, which is really awesome, and I always want to dive into this one. This one in particular follows three women, but it also has to do with Virginia Woolf and Mrs. Dalloway. And it's these three women and there's a bunch of stuff happening together, and I've always wanted to dive into it. I think there's also a film. Is Meryl Streep in that? I'm not entirely sure. Also really great. His writing is spectacular. Literary fiction, wonderful. Another book that I want to read, and I've been dying to read this forever, is Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Awesome things about this: N.K. Jemisin is Black, which is wonderful. This trilogy is also like notably one of the greatest trilogies in the fantasy world from what I've seen and what I've heard from people, and I've always wanted to dive into it. This one has something to do with a Great Red Rift. Ooh, okay. I mean, the first, like reading the back, like the first line in the back, it says, "This is the way the world ends for the last time." Sign me up. Aren't we almost already there? Hello. This seems so interesting. And then you have, I love me a good map. Ooh, and the prologue, hang on. The prologue says, "You are here." Let's start with the end of the world. Why don't we? Get it over with and move on to more interesting things. Hello. Hello. Excited for this one. Next we have Acts of Desperation by Megan Nolan. First of all, this cover is absolutely stunning. Like, it got a nice little bum on there. Like, it's pretty freaking dope. So, this is very interesting. It's a love story like no other. I do love reading these little quotes from other authors or other, like, important people, which is really nice. But here, I'm not going to try to read the back because I've filmed this video, like, 3 times. I tried to read it and it was not it. I learned that I don't know how to read by reading the back of this book. I had my husband also try to read it, and then he also discovered that he was illiterate. So we're not going to read the back. But we are going to hope that the actual contents of the book and the writing style itself is nothing like the way the back is written, and I can actually get through it. So it'd be really sad if this beautiful cover was wasted on shitty writing. Next, ooh, okay, so if you follow me on Instagram, I am huge into horror. And I mean, like, I'm into horror and fantasy and anything dark, really. Dark fantasy, dark romance, that sort of thing. And so this has been on my radar for a very long time now. Tender is the Flesh. I want to say a very long time. It came out this year, so it's been on my radar since this year, earlier this year. And I bought it, I think, early summer. But I'm so excited. There are other content creators that have read this book, and they, like Jordaline, I love her. Like, I love her content and everything. She read this and she thought it was really good. I think she didn't think this was the best work by Augustina Bastarrica, but she said it was awesome. It was still very good, and I'm very interested in reading it. This one has to do with, ooh, another dystopian thing going on. So it says, working at the local processing plant, Marcos is in the business of slaughtering humans, though no one calls them that anymore. I love me a good butcher. Excited to read this one. Next, we have another horror-related one. This one's called Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. Look at that cover. Fucking stunning. It's like 3D, 2.5D. Not quite popping out, but it's still tangible. Like, this is beautiful. But, I don't know, it's like, there's like screenplay type of things in here. Like, the writing is awesome. Well, the writing looks awesome. I don't actually know if it's awesome, but I am so intrigued by this. I'm actually reading currently another book called Black Flame by, what's her name? Am I well? Oh, it's under here. I'm currently reading Black Flame by Gretchen, 2 last name, and I'll put it up here soon, but It's also a book that's about a film that is discovered, and it's a horror, and it's very interesting. And so this is another one that is kind of like that. So it says, a chilling twist on the cursed film genre from the best-selling author of The Pallbearers Club and The Cabin at the End of the World. In June 1993, a group of young guerrilla filmmakers spent 4 weeks making horror movie, a notorious, disturbing art house horror flick. Okay, is this gonna give, what's that show again, that film? Blair Witch Trials, kind of? So funny, because I was actually recently watching an episode of Dawson's Creek where Dawson used like the Blair Witch Trial as inspiration for a project. Instead of writing an essay, he wanted to do a documentary style assignment. And so this is giving that a little bit, but more mature and hopefully scarier. Well, hopefully scary, because that shit wasn't scary at all. But anyway, this is great. I can't wait to dive into this one. Okay. Shifting gears just a little, I am a huge fan of Joan Didion, and I fell in love with her writing and her work back in college, where I read The Year of Magical Thinking, and then I read South and West, and a bunch of other books that she had written, and I just fell in love with her writing style. Like, it's just to the point, it's so beautiful, it's very honest, very true, which is wonderful. So this one is Blue Nights by Joan Didion. Unlike The Year of Magical Thinking, which was about a brief memoir about her husband's death, this one follows her daughter's death. And the two stories are very, very tragic, but her writing is just so real. Honestly, this is what I aspire to write. Like, this is wonderful, and I can't believe it's taken me so long to actually read this one. But this, I need to read this before the end of the year. Next, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Why has it taken me so long to read this? Everyone's talked about it. Everyone's raved about it. What am I on? Okay, I know what I'm on. This year, I read a lot of horror instead of fantasy. And so I'm actually really excited to dive back into fantasy. And so this one is about, a love story for adults that feels luxuriously romantic. It says the circus arrives with no warning. No announcements precede it. It is simply there, when yesterday it was not. Within the black and white striped canvas tents is an utterly unique experience full of breathtaking amazements. It's called Le Cirque de Rêve, and it is open only at night. Ooh, okay. But behind the scenes, a fierce competition is underway. A duel between two young magicians, Celia and Marco, who have been training since childhood expressly for this purpose by their mercurial instructors. Unbeknownst to them both, this is a game in which only one can be left standing. Amidst the high stakes, Celia and Marco soon tumble headfirst into love, setting off a domino effect of dangerous consequences and leaving the lives of everyone from the performers to the patrons hanging in the balance. Okay, yeah, we gotta read this one. And this should come as no surprise. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been talking about this book all year long and wanting to get into it. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I mean, I said I love fantasy, and I love dark fantasy. And this is also dark academia, so sign me the fuck up. They're in college, and, they're freshmen in college. Ooh, they're 18. I hope no sexy things happen in this one. That it's all, like, spooky and dark academia-like and whatever. But can't wait to dive into this one. This one also has a cool-ass cover. Look at that. Ooh, okay. Okay, Slytherin, okay, check it out. It's also that 2.5D type of thing, like it's poppable, but it's not quite 3D. But yeah. All right, down to my last two. Down to my last two books, these gigantic bitches. One of them has been on my TBR since earlier this year as well. Right? I think it came out earlier. Almost everyone I know that has followed this loves it. And so I also don't know why it's taking me so long to read this one. But this is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I'm a huge V.E. Schwab fan. I read the Darker Shade of Magic series. My sister gifted me Vicious, which I also have yet to read, but it's on my TBR. But this one is vampires, 3 badass women. Sign me up. What am I doing? Why have I not started reading this? If I don't read anything on this list before the end of the year, hold me accountable. Make sure I read this one. I have to read this one. So, 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high, one grows deep, and one grows wild. And all of them grow teeth! Come on now. Oh, these women are from like different time periods though. So we have a woman from 1532, another from 1827, another from 2019. What am I doing? Hold me accountable. I need to read this bitch. Okay, I mean, it's a thick one and it's hardcover, but oh, 533 pages. It's actually not bad. I've read worse. All right, I'm reading this. And lastly, we have Alchemized by Senlin Yu. This one has become a recent favorite out of like a huge fantasy books that people are reading this time around. This one came out at the end of summer and I'm really interested in reading this. It's about, I don't know what it's about if I'm being honest. I was influenced to buy this. I've never read Manacled by Senlin Yu back when it was fan fiction. I never really had access. Well, I had access to fan fiction. I just didn't know where to access fan fiction, so I never really got into it. But we have this one, and she was traditionally published and reimagined the story into like alchemy, hence the title Alchemized. But I started reading this already because I want to take my time with it, and I've already started to tab because I want to keep up with the magic systems as much as I can. And I like it so far. I've heard a ton of mixed reviews, but I'm not actually expecting to finish this before the end of the year. If I go into January 2026 reading this, I will be perfectly content. Just make sure I read There Are Bones in the Midnight Soil, because if I don't know. I'll read it in 2026, but I think this would be a really good goal for me to have before the end of the year. That's all I got. Those are my 10 before the end physical books. I have most of these also on audio, and I have them, I think on Kindle. Some of them I have on Kindle, or I can get through Everand. So that should be good, and so I can keep reading the story without having the physical copy, because who's carrying this to work? Not me. Who's carrying this to work? Certainly not me. So, yeah, and also very weirdly, I have motion sickness when it comes to physical books. When it comes to an e-reader or my iPad, I like have no issues with that. So we're gonna dive into these. We're gonna immersive read most of these, and yeah, I'll give you guys my reviews and my thoughts later. Follow me on Instagram for my real-time reactions and real-time thoughts on these books as I read them. Chances are I may not get to all of them because I'm a mood reader, but I think this is a pretty good lineup if I do say so myself. So, all right, until next time, thank you.